Hello and welcome. I am Tina Patterson, Principal Attorney at Patterson Justice Council here in Detroit, Michigan, where pursuing justice is our business. We help everyday individuals protect their property, have their rights respected, and leave legacies to their lineage. We do this because we believe the law should be used as a tool for liberation, not oppression. This week and all this month, we're continuing our focus on women's history for this month of March. But this week in particular, we'll be releasing a series titled, What Will You Fight For?, where we'll be discussing key concepts that are critical to our experience of life and why it is necessary to fight to keep these items in our favor. These 3 points we'll be discussing today will speak to general principles, but we'll see how they intertwine with legal issues and how using the law in these instances, again, to our mission as a tool for liberation, can not only protect what is at stake, but how we can keep the benefit going for future generations. Now, it is my personal philosophy that truly nothing we have on this earth in this lifetime is solely for our individual benefit. And by sharing these 3 principles and stories, you'll see how through one person, although one person may be affected immediately, many others, both present and not yet existent, will be negatively impacted if that one person, if we, who are in the current moment, do not fight for what is right. And when it comes to what we will fight for, the principles apply to both men and women, Black, white, young, and old. But I will share stories based on real life examples of women fighting through these issues in honor of Women's History Month, this month of March. So the 3 principles we'll be discussing when it comes to what you're willing to fight for: the financial vault, the future ventures, the foundational values. So first, when it comes to financial vault, we're obviously talking about the financial vault, your money. And I'm not just talking about any random money disputes, because we clearly see that money is a dominant force in life, and too many people will do anything to get it, even if things are considered immoral or amoral. And we'll discuss some of that when we get to the foundational values piece. So to make my point clear, I'm going to tell a story about a case I had recently where there was a life insurance policy on the line after the death of client's parents. It was a $25,000 policy. $25,000 at one time can make a significant impact in any individual's life. And depending on their life circumstances, some might just be lifted out of poverty with that. But however, although the proper court paperwork had been filed and submitted, the company refused. They did not distribute funds for 6 months. So think about it, 6 months of expenses, 6 months of mortgage, 6 months of tuition, whatever it is, 6 months of it. How much of that could the $25,000 have benefited of those 6 months that had gone by? So 6 months had gone by. Once I was notified of it, I went to work for the client. Within 1 week, the entire policy was released to the estate, so my client and their family could then receive the funds properly. So when I'm talking about your financial vault, I'm talking about money that is being withheld from you unjustly or charged to you unjustly. Okay, so again, when it comes to financial institutions that are withholding funds unnecessarily, like the case I just gave you with the life insurance company, or charging fees that are exorbitant and just unjust, right? They're excessive and they're not even relative to your current situation, right? They don't even have a reason to be there. When those instances happen, your financial vault is threatened. And it doesn't matter if your vault has gold bars in there or nothing but your name on the account. The fight is bigger than you. It affects your family's well-being, your community, if you're looking to use those funds to throw a community event, or future customers, if you're counting on that money to open your own business, etc. The list goes on of examples of how that money can positively impact you, your family, and all the people that you come into contact with. So when it comes to fighting for your financial vault, the lesson is that at times we must confront the conflicts to reap the rewards. Okay, second, are you willing to fight to protect your future ventures? Again, the business you want to open, the networking and community events that you want to host, the land you want to develop. We'll get into this a little bit more on Wednesday in a case that I'll be discussing during our live stream, because this precise matter was at stake, land development. So just a small brief synopsis for this example when it comes to your future ventures. Years back, I had a client who had land. Despite rightfully owning the land, paying the required purchase price, The land was taken from her. And it was taken in a way that was incompatible with the rules under the contract. Now, this client didn't just acquire land to have land. There were plans behind the land, and those plans were temporarily gone because the land had been lost unfairly, unnecessarily. Who lost out, though? It wasn't just the individual. It was her family as well, especially mother, who she planned to use the land to benefit the most. But to her, in that case, wrongfully taken property, especially what she wanted to use to develop for someone else, it was something worth fighting for. It was an injustice to correct, even if it took years of court battles back and forth to get a final resolution in her favor. So the lesson here is to persevere through the pain to win the prize, because your future ventures and all the future plans that you have at stake, somebody might come in and try to threaten it. But if your eyes are on the prize, you'll go through the pain to get it. And last, are you willing to fight for your foundational values? Again, as referenced beforehand, the values rooted in good intention, not to harm others, but to help others. Those that bring forth and uphold noble ideals that we hold in high esteem, such as freedom, equality, and humanity. Now, one example of this that I'm borrowing from history is none other than Rosa Parks, who famously and courageously refused to give up her seat on the front of a bus in the segregated Jim Crow 1950s South in Alabama for a white man, which was the rule at the time. Black people had to sit in the back of the bus. If the seats were full, they'd have to give it up for a white man or a white woman. And she refused. Now, that fateful Birmingham day in 1955 directly challenged the law as it was used in an oppressive manner. And it led actually to a change in the law for all to enjoy, thus liberating them from the segregated bus system. So again, to our whole entire mission, the law is neutral. It can be used for good, it can be used for great evil. We want to use it for the betterment and the advancement of society. And all these examples are showing how one person is using it to extend that benefit to other people. So the case with Rosa Parks, it removed that segregated bus system and it opened it up and liberated it to Black people who had been denied that benefit. But that wasn't it. That event also set off an entire movement, one of the most significant in the US and global history, and simultaneously propelled the life trajectory of a young 26-year-old preacher into the nation's foremost authority on civil rights, none other than the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Again, it started with an individual, Rosa Parks, but it birthed an entire generation of freedom fighters, civil rights luminaries, laws that went crumbling down, and some of the most gallant men and women we have ever studied in history that helped to bring this about. That is the power of fighting the good fight. So this day and age, while times are different, these principles hold true. These things that are worth fighting for when it comes to, again, our financial vault, future ventures, foundational values. Now, it is critical, especially for historically marginalized populations like women and Black people, to know, trust, and believe that when they fight, they can win. Okay, can. It's equally important to know that every fight will not be won, and every fight is not one worth fighting. But when it comes to your future fortune, your freedom, your foundational principles, oftentimes because these things hold an enormity of value, even beyond our recognition at times, they will be attacked again and again and again. However, it is paramount that we do not give in out of fear or in hopes that if we do nothing, it would just go away. I like to compare it to bullies. Bullies don't back down, but we can become stronger than them and overcome those obstacles. So on Wednesday, March 8th, International Women's Day, we will be discussing this topic more in depth with actual case studies on how these issues all interrelate to demonstrate that victory is always possible to those who refuse to succumb to defeat before the battle begins. So if you like this video, share it with a friend. Like the video and subscribe to the channel. We are live every Wednesday at 1:30 p.m. EST, Eastern Standard Time. Again, if you like the video, share it with a friend, like it, comment, subscribe to the channel. And we'll see you again Wednesday, March 8th, live at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Until then, take care.